Hi, this is Jagriti from Exchange for Media, and this is TechTalk, where we explore the intersection of advertising and technology. Today, we are here with Baskar Subramanian, the co-founder and CEO of Amagi. Amagi is a Bangalore-based unicorn that has been making strides across the globe for their really interesting offerings in CTV and streaming and broadcast technology. So we're just gonna talk about it and unpack what it means for advertisers. So, hi, welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you.
So, Amagi is a Bangalore-based company, but
right.
it has a global footprint, 13
Correct.
locations. So, how do you look at it? Do you still feel that it's an Indian company that has a global media footprint, or it's a global media company that happens to start in Bangalore?
So aspirationally, if you look at it, the opportunity that Amagi is chasing right now is the big transformation that's happening across the whole media business. So all of television worldwide is changing. So the opportunity-wise, it's a global business for us. It's going to be across the globe. Obviously, we're very proud of the roots starting from India. Obviously, it's an India company, India domicile company. So we started here, and we continue to have the largest R&D and operations elements out of India. So we continue to see ourselves as an Indian company going across the globe and disrupting the landscape, the technology landscape in the media business.
Sure.
That's where I would put it.
So very much India at heart.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. So we have been seeing Amagi in a lot of news also. There have been acquisitions, there have been partnerships, expansion in different countries. So, I mean, what's next, or what's right now for Amagi?
I think the phase at which the media businesses are, if you look at from across the globe, two big trend lines that are starting to happen, right? If you look at it, media business, we are all consuming content as streaming today. That means we've all gone to the internet-based approach of watching content. This changing the factory at the back end. How you create content is changing dramatically at the back end. And that's where the opportunity lies for Amagi. And if you look at it, the phase at which where we are, the next 10 years, there's a big transformation across the business. Amagi genuinely is in a position of strength and opportunity that lies in front of us to capture this completely and become the largest company in the world in terms of the media technology space. And if you look at it from specific technology changes that are happening in the industry, obviously the biggest change is AI ML starting to really disrupt some of the marketplaces across every different market that we've seen. Media is no different. So we're seeing a dramatic change in terms of how media technology is going to change the business. The second part, if you look at it, is broadcast and TV is the last bastion which is moving to the cloud. The modernization of the whole technology infrastructure has taken time. And here is an industry which is ripe for change and starting to do that progression that we see. So these are the big things for us, the modernization of the cloud infrastructure and dramatically improving the streaming models that are starting to evolve. The second is the adoption of AI ML technologies to drive both cost optimizations and increased monetization possibilities for our customers. I think those are the two big realms of possibilities for us as a company.
Sure. So if somebody is looking at the entire ecosystem, where is the money? Like, where do they look at from an ROI perspective if I'm looking at it? Because performance marketing is something that everybody is focused on. So where is the money essentially?
If you look at it, if you look at the media business, the content business historically has made money from subscription, which is where consumers pay money on a per month basis or otherwise to consume content. Or it was advertising, essentially means that people had advertising exposures through which the companies made money. These are two real big options that existed in life. And we continue to see 60% of the money was always advertising, 40% was from subscription. Right. We are seeing the very similar model that's starting to evolve, even in the business of television moving to streaming. That's starting to happen. But the beauty is when you come to connected television, which is the sort of the market where I think it's most exciting is happening, is because it's connected, essentially means that you have much better targeting in terms of consumer preferences. There are many different ways people are trying to target the advertising content to specific consumers today. And it's happening because we know the content interest of the people, we know the geography, we know the size of the television at home, we know the economics of the home and the household that you'd have. And now we're seeing this whole idea of shoppable, the commerce part of it, starting to get integrated into television. It's always been a holy grail that can we bring in commerce capabilities to advertising as a complete attribution value chain. That is, I know whom I'm communicating with, but can I also consummate it with an action, which is typically a buying of a particular goods or a service. We are seeing that trend line where in the next few years, there's an attribution of communication that you do from an advertising standpoint, connecting to commerce eventually. But its user experience has been very hard to get for consumers to engage meaningfully. I think those are the places where I see there's a big future in terms of how it's going to happen.
Sure. Is there enough awareness about these among the advertisers, or are those like really tough conversations when you are having those conversations?
I think again, see, advertising has always been historically been a very soft business, essentially trying to talk about perception of value rather than value itself. I truly believe performance marketing and being the ability to provide tangible benefits, because if there's tangible benefits, I don't think anybody in the middle is going to say, oh, there's no value or there's less value. The question is not being able to demonstrate tangible benefits has been the bane of the industry in television. I think that is starting to change. Obviously, linear, the pay TV television, historically, because over time, we have figured out that we are able to see that there is clearly shift in terms of lift in terms of consumer preferences. Whenever you do advertising, there's always a share of voice to share of market linkages, which is much more structured. In the world of digital, obviously with some of the performance marketing we've seen on the web, how do you bring it to connected TV is the big game. I truly believe if connected television is able to demonstrate value in a very tangible fashion, I don't think it's a big sale. It's going to be much more easier sale because performance matters. People can see the performance, understand that the attribution exists and be able to do it. So it's the onus of the industry, which is the connected television industry, to provide an end-to-end value system in terms of the attribution rather than keeping it soft, because if you have a very soft value, it's going to be a hard sell. But if it's really a good, hard, tangible value accretion that you can provide, then automatically I don't think sales will be the problem there.
There has also been a lot of fragmentation in this entire space, right? You have fast 2.0 CTV, and then there are premium options like 4K. So do you think that also affects how advertisers look at it, or is it good for them that they have more options to choose from?
No, I think from an industry standpoint, I think they're confusing agencies and advertisers with too much of jargons, which actually has no value, actually, truly.
Okay.
What I look at it is from a first principle standpoint is you want to reach consumers. What is the quality of the consumer that you're reaching, and what is the quality of the experience that you're providing to those consumers, which matters. So all of this is fast or AVOD, and all of this is mumbo jumbo. If you look at it, I'm a consumer, I don't actually care. I'm going to switch on my television and I want to watch content. I watch incidentally on linear or incidentally in VOD. It's just a seamless mechanism of going and watching content. And you call it fast or you call it connected, all of that's only but the pipes can change. But the overall experiences between the content and the consumer is the value that we need to drive at. So I would prefer that we, as going back to advertising agencies and to our marketing folks in consumer industry, for example, is to demonstrate the viewer as the central linchpin through which we kind of define the experiences and attribution, rather than putting a lot of mumbo jumbo of mediums and how does it matter for consumers and how they watch. So I think that narrative has to change. Rather than confusing it and complicating it, we need to make it much more simpler in terms of getting back to the exact effective value that we're driving at. That would be my recommendation of how I see this whole industry.
Sure. Also, you have offices in 13 locations. You have so many insights coming in from across the globe. Do you see that there are some trends that are same across the globe, or do you see some markets are drastically different from another?
See, the universality of some of this is very, very compelling, I would say. And the reason is, for example, storytelling is timeless. So everybody wants to watch content, which is good, right? So everybody loves good stories. And the interesting thing that we're seeing across the globe right now, given the vantage point that we see, globalization of content is a big theme that's happening. That is essentially, I'm sure a lot of you are watching Korean content already in India, right? So it's starting to happen where we are seeing that content is getting exported worldwide. Obviously, Bollywood content is starting to become better and better everywhere because we are able to export our content. I'm seeing this in Latin America. I'm seeing it in Brazil. Japanese anime has become a big part of the whole culture across the globe. So we are seeing suddenly a new set of content evolving in many different parts of the geographies coming together. And globalization of content is a reality, which is, I think, is a big trend line that we're seeing across the globe. Obviously, what drives the economics of this business is the ad revenue, fundamentally. And there you have tremendous amount of different disparities that we see. For example, in the US, typically you can make anywhere from $20 to $30 cost CPMs, or $20 to $30 in a digital world in CTV. In Brazil, it's about $8. In India, it's $2. In Australia, it's $6. So it's kind of all over the map in terms of the dollar CPM that you make. So that economics has a big challenge in terms of with this very big disparity in terms of the economics. The second part is the advertising maturity from an ecosystem standpoint, which is driven by what's called fill rate. How many of your ad spots that you have from a supply to demand inventory, how much is filled today, for example, even at that value, right? Value is one part of it, but the filling is another part of it. If you look at it, fill rates are 60% in the US, 20% in LATAM, and India would be about 10%. Right? So that also matters for you. So it's a product of fill rate multiplied by the CPM provides you the base of economics of the whole system. That is disparate across the globe, but the content consumption from a unified consumer experiences, consumers want content, obviously localized to their language, localized, that's happening. But other than that, people are really embracing content worldwide. In different cultures and different geographies, we see that very, very common.
Yeah. We also look at the rise of intelligent programming. How are advertisers or how is the ecosystem sort of responding to that? Are they open to embracing intelligent programming, or is it difficult even for consumers? Are they liking that?
Consumers are coming through with two things that are happening, right? If you look at it from a programming standpoint, one is personalization is the future. So we're seeing a lot of things which are getting personalized, which I think is a very step in the right direction. If you look at it, one of the bane of the media industry is the amount of content that's getting created. And what is happening, right? It's not only new content, the pace at which new content is getting created, be it in social media, be it in production, really big enterprise studio grade production that's happening, as well as in news and live sports, it's exploding in terms of the content. Now think about the problem with media is it's not only the content that you're creating, but the content libraries that you created over years now that you need to really, so the corpus is becoming so large that I think as humans, we're not going to touch every content with everybody. So although we have 8 billion people in the world and roughly 4 billion are accessing through streaming today, how do you kind of get all these content discovered is the biggest challenge in the industry. I don't think there's an easy formula. I think people have tried with algorithms and recommendation engines and technology. Even today, I'm sure all of us, the best of recommendation engine is on Netflix, and yet all of us, I'm sure, vouch for spending more than 10 minutes watching a blank screen, figuring out what to watch the next one, next programming. So I think this problem is going to continue to exist. And obviously FAST as a linear experience was a way to have serendipitous discovery of content, which I think has been an interesting way to solve the problem to some extent. So I think personalization is a reality. If you marry personalization with good personalized advertising models, there is a tremendous opportunity to now start to custom create content and advertising to have a seamless mesh in the whole system. We're seeing in content, for example, is becoming a big part of the whole equation, where advertising is embedded into the content experiences of consumers so that they feel very natural in the whole thing. We're seeing this both in the gaming environments and in the media environment starting to really reflect, but that's the future. Personalization is the big future of all of this, right?
And AI is of course a big part of it.
AI will be a big part because I can personalize content better, advertising better. I can target advertising, and now with all the video creation possibilities, be it the likes of Sora and others, for example, I truly believe in a cusp of change where you can actually create targeted communication on a per individual basis. The videos are per individual. Hopefully costs come down, but that's the future of what I see.
Yeah. And for Amagi, what's next in terms of, say, AI and ML? How do you plan to really innovate in that space?
See, Amagi is a glass-to-glass company. And what we mean by glass-to-glass is, so we have the technology business. We are the picks and charles of this industry. We enable customers to provide technology starting from the camera till the point of on a TV set or a mobile phone that people are watching content. Everything in the middle should be software, and we believe that we can actually lead the trend line of building, buying, or partnering with those software infrastructure and providing a one complete platform for our customers. Now, if you look at it, any media company, there is a cost of operating all of the software and being able to deliver that value to the whole thing. I believe, again, if you look at AI, ML is it's like a utility technology. It's like electricity, right? So it's going to be impacting everything in the aspect of it. So that's the way we're seeing that it's impacting every part of the value chain in the media ecosystem as well. So what we're building is really creating both augmentation technologies and autonomous technologies. Autonomous replaces some of the human elements in the loop. Augmentation actually augments the operations elements too. Okay. So we're looking at both of those technologies, but drive it broader across the whole ecosystem of the media operations value chain. At one end is the advertising part. Can we really make it much more effective? At the other end is really production, live production part. Can we really make it more productive and autonomous? So we're kind of working across the spread of stuff. So for us, AI/ML is a technology which will be broad-based. It's not a single point technology in really one thing, but really broader portfolio of things that we will change. That's the way we see this.
Right. And these are things that will take a few years, or do you feel like 2025 is it?
I think there's a rapid change in the technologies. As we've seen, one of the fastest pace of technology change in the world has been in AI/ML. We would see rapid strides in 2025, but I think there's going to be some road bumps on the road as we move forward, because I think the LLM models that we've come is coming to a point of saturation to some extent. Next step is going to be one more disruption in terms of the technology space in AI that has to happen, in terms of what we call world models starting to evolve. So that's the next step in the evolution. That's another 2 years of gestation before it happens, which is important from a video part of the businesses that we see, for example. But I think the next 2 years is super important. The next year, for example, already, as you think, we've announced Argoid is one of the companies that we acquired, fundamentally to kind of augment our AI/ML capabilities fundamentally in terms of scheduling content, creating the linear creations, building personalized recommendations. So we're starting to really put all of those frameworks in place. But I think next year is super important for us to drive some of these changes across the industry.
Right. So lastly, I would like to understand, what is that one thing that you feel people should understand about Amagi?
Okay.
One thing they should know, that one line they should associate with Amagi.
See, Amagi is the tech fabric which is powering a large part of the television businesses worldwide, right? We are not a very well-known company from an Indian context, and that was like by choice to some extent, right? Yeah. So large part of our business in the US, for example, we powered Olympics last year. The whole of Olympics in the US was powered on Amagi infrastructure. We continue to do some of the largest sports game in the world, both in the European context and in the US happening. The largest TV news network in the US is transforming to cloud using Amagi infrastructure. So some of these are, we continue to be silent in those aspects because we like to be really a technology-focused, consumer-focused company. So we kind of focus on those aspects of it. But I think whenever you touch or feel any content anywhere in the world, there may be a small sliver of technology element or a software line of code that is written by Amagi eventually. That's where I think we will go.
I mean, it's great for Amagi as well as India for that matter.
I think that's where we're going. I think hopefully we'll reach there as well as a company.
Yeah, that's great. Good luck with that. We would love to watch the progress.
True.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a great conversation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.